And good evening. My name is Ryan Belmore, and I am the owner and publisher of What's Up Noop. And this evening, we are starting a new venture. We are stepping away from all the politics coverage that we bring you, and this is the idea and brainchild of one of our lifestyle editor, who is Ken Abrams. And good evening, Ken.
Hey Ryan, how you doing?
I'm doing all right, and how are you?
Very good, very good. Excited to get this show on the road here.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about this idea that you had. What's up in local music?
Right, the idea and what we'll see tonight are the idea is conversations with local musicians. Given that we're dealing with some really difficult times for local artists the last 6 months, obviously with COVID, we want to hear what's going on. We know there are some shows going on and albums being recorded, but there's also a lot of problems and issues going on with musicians. So that's the idea. It's really about conversations with local artists and finding out what's up and maybe introducing people to some artists they are unfamiliar with.
Excellent. And if there are any musicians or artists who are watching who want to be featured in a future episode or in whatsupnoop.com, they should reach out to us.
Absolutely. They know how, Mr. Abrams at AOL.com, and or reach out to you. But by all means, we'll be monitoring the comments, and feel free to ask questions during the broadcast or send any information along. We're definitely, we've always covered music and the arts on What's Up Noop, and we want to continue with that.
Excellent. And I will let you get this show on the road here, and I will stay in the back and let you run the show. So take it away.
Thanks, Ryan. All right. Well, we have a couple of special guests for our first episode tonight, and let's bring them on if we can. There's Allison Callery.
Hey.
Allison. And we've got Mark Cutler. Is Mark there? Hey, Mark.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Allison.
How are you?
All right. A couple of Rhode Island's best musicians. And that's why I wanted you guys on this week for our first episode of What's Up in Local Music. And although we're What's Up Noop, of course, we really covered the whole state. We've been doing that for a few years now. And that's what it's all about. As mentioned, I don't know if you overheard the intro, but we are really interested in finding out what musicians have been up to over the last 6 months and what they've got coming up as far as projects, gigs, albums, things like that. And I do know that both of you are working on a particular project, so we'll talk about that tonight. But I guess my first question is really about the COVID epidemic and how that has affected you guys as musicians. And maybe we'll start with Mark. If you could just talk a little bit about what has changed and what you've been doing over the last 6 months or so.
Okay, well, I've canceled a lot of gigs, and also I took this crisis as an opportunity to start doing like an online live performance every Wednesday night from my house, and that's been pretty good. I mean, it's not like replacing, in any way the money that I've lost, but it does help with my happiness and playing for people and stuff. And in the first few times, it was pretty strange to talk to just a camera, but I'm kind of getting used to it now. Also, I've been conducting some workshops online via Zoom, and it's much better to work with people, face to face. But this beats not doing anything, and it's nice to have a connection with folks. And I'm working on finishing some records. I haven't written too many songs on my own these past few months because I don't know, it just hasn't been in me. I think I'm having the Michelle Obama low grade depression, to be honest with you, but I've been collaborating with people and stuff, and that's about it. That's what I've been doing.
Okay.
Finishing an album, working on an album, recording and stuff.
Cool.
Hey, Allison.
How about Allison?
So yeah, I'm really lucky. I'm still at work, and my work was considered an essential business. So I was able to leave these walls and like drive somewhere, even when we were during lockdown. And I pretty much work by myself. I work completely alone in my office, and I have people coming in. I manage a self-storage place, completely unrelated to music, although a lot of musicians come and rent storage, which is fun. So I don't know, I can bring the guitar to work. I've definitely written lots of songs at work. And so I've been, but like Mark, I've gone down from playing a bunch of live gigs I was used to playing around 8 shows a month, and then to go down to like one house concert, but it's like a sanity thing. Like I think I had gotten to the point where I was almost doing too many shows and I was really tired, especially like a couple of years ago when I was a caretaker for my grandmother and then, working and stuff. So I kind of got to that point where I'm like, oh, I have to play a gig. But now I'm like, yay, I get to play a gig. And I'm like, boom, in my car. I'm so psyched. I'm so ready to play. And I can't wait,
Yeah, a lot of musicians have been sort of doing the house concert route. Is that something? Obviously, it's probably the crowds aren't as big, and the income isn't quite there compared to a traditional gig. But how is it different, say, from what you would typically play?
I don't know. See, like for me, a house concert is almost better than a typical gig because, and even though it's only a few people, they're very generous and kind. It's just me. I have the luxury of being a solo artist, so I don't have to split it with anybody. And I'm not the person that's going and playing cover shows. And those guys make a lot of money, and girls play a lot, that do covers. But for a weirdo folky like me, and like you can't do better than a little house concert.
Gotcha.
So it's nice. It's nice, but it's going to get cold, and then we can't be outside anymore. So
right.
Then, and I did a few online things like what Mark was saying, and it is weird, like at first, to like look at yourself and like you're playing, it's just great to be able to connect with people and go back. I'm not good at like doing this and like looking at comments and like responding at the same time. I'm always like, do you find that, Mark, when you're playing?
I turn the camera the other way. I don't even look at the screen. Kelly,
right.
my wife Kelly's holding the camera, so at least I have her to talk to. But occasionally she's busy, so I have to put the camera over here. Over here, and I'm looking over there, and I'm not looking at the comments. I look at the comments afterwards, so I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants. Occasionally, I'll have the computer that I'm looking at right now, just to make sure that I'm in the frame. But and you can't help but look at comments sometimes. But I try not to look at that, and I just use that as a reference. And it's very weird talking to yourself. It's like you're playing television host. But then after a while, you realize, hey, if there's like 50 to 60 people, sometimes there've been over 100 people,
Wow.
usually like 40 to 60 people. And for those 40 to 60 people, we're having a good time. And I'm talking to them like I'm talking to you. And even though I don't hear anybody talking back lately, like these past few weeks, I've been starting to feel the energy being transferred back and forth. So, I think it's helped me with my show business skills, to be honest with you, like to be able to talk like between a song and talk about stuff and just be yourself, rather than like silence and guitar, So.
They'll have better stage presence, I guess, is the term. But those shows have. Go ahead, Alison.
I was going to say banter is tough, and I have to retune. I only have the one guitar, so I'm like retuning, ding 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 ding. And apparently it takes, according to my husband, it takes a really long time. And I should be having jokes and stuff, but I stink at them. Right. I have like the worst jokes.
Well, the pros, they've got a script. They do the same thing every night and they get the same laughs. And I don't know how the band behind them deals with it, but it's you guys do just fine with your banter. I've seen you both numerous times, and there's always a moment, but no, you do great. The home concerts have been interesting because they really took off. Some artists just jumped right into that. And then others, the quality wasn't quite there. I mean, it's tough doing that on an iPhone when you talk about sound quality or video or bandwidth, things like that. But it definitely is. I mean, it's something that's going to continue. I mean, it's going to be maybe till the spring or the summer, many are saying, before indoor live gigs return. I would hope by the spring, but it's really hard to predict that. And you're right, the outdoor goes fast.
I think these home concerts are going to be part of my arsenal now of gigging, because I get to see some friends in Italy, Canada, across the country, not just the people who come to see me play around here. So I think it's a nice little thing to have in your toolkit to be able to do this. And so that's, out of all the suckiness, this is one good thing that's happened, So.
Yeah. I wonder, do you think when you get back to regular gigs, you'll just stream them all? I mean, will that become something more standard, or what do you think?
I think so. I've streamed every single house concert I've done. And it definitely, like what Mark is saying, like when you've got fans that are like overseas that maybe get to see you once or twice, like in a few years, you know what I mean? So it's really fun for me to be able to connect with people from far, far away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, there's definitely, I wouldn't call it a benefit of the epidemic, but a lot of people are changing the way they do things. I know in education, I'm a teacher by day, and a lot will change even beyond COVID. So we'll have to wait and see what it looks like. Let's talk about your individual careers, where you're at. I know, Allison, you have an album due out in October, I understand, right around Halloween.
I do.
And
Ghost folk, baby.
Ghost folk, baby, exactly. What is ghost folk as a genre? First of all, explain to our.
Did you
I haven't quite.
No.
It's taken me years to wrap my head around it, but
So
what's ghost folk?
It came from my first label, which is Woodland Recordings. They're out of Germany. And he described me as ghost folk artist Allison Callery. And I was like, wow, that's really great. And I think it might have come from one of my early reviews that said I was like the combined ghosts of Sandy Denny and Nick Drake, which is like the best compliment. I didn't know who Nick Drake was at the time. I had to go and find him out. And of course, I loved him. So anyhow, so that's where that came from. And so Ghost Folk is actually the pre-sale starting tomorrow in the US. The pre-sale is already starting tonight in Germany because it's already tomorrow there. And yeah, that's exciting. But I mean, I was done with this record. I got it for Christmas last year from my producer.
Wow.
Like he handed me the zip and all his production part was done. So it was like the best present I could have ever gotten. And so it's been like, I've been done though. I've written these songs, most of them for like, I've been playing them for years. Like, you know how it is, Mark, when you're like, you're playing these songs for 3 years and then your record finally comes out. You're like, you already got the new songs for the next
Right.
I know, Mark, sorry, Allison, you're working, your last album, Travel Light, loved it. That was your last solo album, I believe.
You know what? I ran across your review. For some reason, I ran across it. And that was really sweet. Ken, thank you so much for those words. That was really cool.
It was one of my favorite albums. I play it all the time. I mean, truly. And it really is up there with the best as far as I'm concerned. But I heard you might be working on, you mentioned something new. Is it solo? Is it with the band, Men of Great Courage?
Well, I actually have a couple of projects. One's a solo record, and with Men of Great Courage. And then I started a little project with Bob Giusti, Ray Memory, and Jimmy Berger called the Sorry Guys. And we're trying to write some new songs for that. And we think we want to put out an EP. And but like Allison, I've had some songs written for the past couple of years that just I have to get them out in order to make some room in my brain to get the new stuff out. Because I wanted to address a whole bunch of stuff that's been going on in my life with songwriting, but I also wanted to breathe a little. Like I went through cancer and some heart, some open heart surgery, and my sister passed away, all right around the same time. And so I've been trying to corral those emotions, and but I needed some time away from it to respect it and give it respect and honor it, I guess, to use a buzzword now. So I'm looking forward to getting these songs out on a record, and then I feel I'll have room to write about stuff with a little distance. I didn't want to write about COVID and stuff like that because everybody's writing about that stuff. And, it's like after 9/11, you heard all these 9/11 songs, and, I still haven't written a real 9/11 song, I just don't feel like, I don't have it in me to write something to address that heaviness. I'd rather, I address like the small things that make up big things, you know. So
Sure.
I know Allison does the same thing. She kills me with like how she writes, like it's so intimate, but to me, like it really resonates, you know. So, you know, I mean, I'm really happy to be here with you, Allison. It's nice to see you.
Oh, likewise. Likewise.
I saw today your pal Jimmy Berger's daughter put up I Want Some Fun, the MTV version, the original.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought about, I mean, that was, what year was that? Like 83, 4?
84, yeah.
Okay, 36 years ago.
Holy moly. That's
yeah,
like Robert,
I mean,
Robert Johnson was around, like, you know, like the distance of time from, well, maybe not that time, but, you know, but that's like, you know, it's like old blues guys were alive when I started playing from that distance from, you know, it's just weird.
yeah. Well, that was like, I mean, how do you, you know, at this point in your career, you know, reflect on that a little bit for us?
As like reflect on what, like,
You know, just the, you know, sort of your longevity in the music business, and how do you sort of, what's changed, what's different, and do you approach things differently, obviously, but how do you approach things differently, I guess the question.
well, back then, you know, I'll tell you, back then there was like kind of a turning point for me as a songwriter. Like I was reading an interview with Robbie Robertson, and you know, I always was a fan of the band from day one, but you know, but I didn't know much about them. And I read an interview with Robbie Robertson, and he was talking about his goal with the band was to write songs that were timeless. And so I said, you know, that's what I want to do. I want to write songs that I can sing, you know, 20 years from now. And look, I still play I Want Some Fun 40 years later, and it still sounds to me like it doesn't sound like pegged in a time capsule to me. It just sounds like a song, you know, like a song like I Could Get Used to This. I wrote that 40 years ago, and that's exactly what I wanted to write. I wanted to write a song that I could sing when I'm 60, and now I'm 60, and it still makes sense to me when I sing it. And so that's always been, you know, my goal as a songwriter is to write songs that, you know, that you could sing forever, you know, like, and I'll tell you that there is a real good reason to write songs that can be pegged in a time. You know, it's almost like folk songs certainly used to be, you know, associated with a certain time, although now the times come around with the way things are politically. But you know, I think when you're playing to a style, if you're kind of hip to what you're doing, you know that it's got a shelf life, and that's cool, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. But always wanted to write songs that, like, you know, I just wanted to be able to sing, because I still enjoy playing the songs that I wrote way back when, and you know, and also reading like, you know, like interviews with the Alvin brothers from the Blasters way back when about how they didn't want to write cool guy songs. They like about being on the road or living in the hotel room. You know, they wanted to write songs just about everyday life. You know, Ray Davies, he's another one. You know, like he can write about, you know, sipping his ice cold beer, and it just sounds beautiful. You know, so that's how I reflect on, you know, what I do. And also, you know, back then I was a little more self-destructive. You know, and I am not a self-destructive person at all now. I love looking at the sky and listening to the birds. I sit in my backyard and listen to those birds chirping and watching those leaves blowing, and that's a good life to me. You know, so
Hear
that's
that?
about the difference.
Yeah. Cheers.
Thanks.
Weren't we all? Allison, you're a late bloomer, right? When it comes to your career, it's a compliment.
She came out of the gate happening. I'll tell you that much. All right, that's all I'm going to say now. Go ahead.
No, well, you know,
No, I love that. I love that. I wanted to jump in when you were talking about like the whole writing songs from little moments in your life. That's why you have legions of fans, is because you are so relatable and your songs resonate so deeply with so many people, including me. Been a fan since forever. But so yeah, I used to be played on BRU.
I was thinking BRU.
Yep, BRU. So yeah, I played guitar in high school, and you know, fingerstyle. Back then I was playing murder ballads, you know how popular those are. You know, I did go to a school one, which was kind of a school for outsiders, which, you know, embraced what I was doing. But when I left that protective nest, there wasn't anybody listening. And that was in the late 80s, and there wasn't open mics on, in every town at that point. I didn't even know of any open mic at that point. Like, you could either go from playing in your bedroom or play at Stone Soup. Like, there was no, and if there was like anything that a novice could do, I didn't know, and there was no internet to connect you with people. So the guitar went under the bed, and I just didn't do it. And then I started writing poetry in my late 20s, and someone offered me a feature, and I'm like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if I put a couple of these poems to music? And it was a big hit, and I realized I should probably start playing my guitar again. So I was like in my 30s, but it took a long time. I was definitely, I didn't put out my first record till I was 40. I climbed Mount Fuji, snail, but slowly. So that was me. But I did it, and now I've got 9 records, and I'm about to have a 10th. So I'm psyched.
Wow, 10th.
And none of them have a B chord until this next one. This next one's my first one with a B chord. So I'm still learning. I'm still learning,
Right. We've talked about that. Those bar chords. Yeah.
It's not even a bar. I
B, right.
This weird thing, I don't know. I'll have to show you, Mark, and you can even tell me if it is a B. It might not be a B.
Maybe it's a B something.
It's something.
I'll tell you, the thing I love about music, though, is I'm always learning. And
right.
You always get better. And that's the thing I love about it. Anybody who, whatever, you can learn from people who are a lot younger than you. I look at kids playing and I say, how did you do that? Show me how you did that. And it's so nice to be able to I could show them something, but they show me something back. And it's just, it's a beautiful thing, playing music or just being in art, because everybody can teach everybody else, so it's a wonderful thing.
Absolutely. In fact, that's one of the last questions that I had was, and I've been involved in the Rhode Island music community for a few years, 8 or 9 years now, doing some writing and DJing on RIU and things like that. But it's a really, to me, it's been a very warm, embracing, and it's, as I say this sincerely, what makes Rhode Island special when it comes to the sort of music community? And it's not perfect, that's for sure. But what's unique, do you think, or special? Because we do have a lot of talent here, way more, I think, than, a percentage of our population compared to other places or whatever. Any thoughts on that?
I think it's so small that you have to get along with everybody, because you're going to run into them. You're going to be doing something or like a benefit or whatever, and you're going to thrown together with everybody. So I don't know. It's what makes it so talented here in Rhode Island. I don't know. It's definitely something in the water.
Yeah, it's got to be the water.
I thought it was those long, cold, depressing winters. Go ahead, Mark.
I think I think everybody here is cool without being cool. It's just like people are just nice people. And there's a kindness. That's what I find, at least. And I think if you put out kindness, you get kindness back. And
absolutely.
So I think there's a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
And we hope. And it's not even like we have a chip on our shoulder. We're just a small state, and I think everybody in Rhode Island, it feels lucky that they live in Rhode Island. And I've been to a lot of places in this country where people just wanted to get out of their town. But we have the ocean here. We have beautiful reservoirs and trees and stuff like that. In a cool city too, and a great art scene. I think having artists like people from RISD. And not just RISD, but it kind of helps seed other people's ambitions and inspires other people to pursue arts. And I think everybody treats arts as almost a fundamental need around here. Whether they're making a living at it or not, it's just like I know a lot of people who just practice art. And I think one of the things, like my Same Thing project, the whole thing about that is the same thing means everybody has a lot of the same qualities. Like I got it from the Dalai Lama, but people, especially around here, I can't speak for everywhere in the country, but maybe it's true. but I think most people that I've come across around here have a desire to be creative. And it's just a nice way to, like, you know, and I meet a lot of creative people who inspire me, who've never written a lyric or played a chord on a guitar. And once they get it happening, you know, and you get 30 people in a room and somebody plays 2 chords, that's the start of a song. And they helped write a song. And the person, just the conversations that go on to help create the idea of the song. Everybody in that room has helped write a song. So they're all songwriters. And they weren't a songwriter before they came in the room. And I love the fact that people, you know, they can understand, like, what it means to be creative, and the significance of what it is to be creative, and to, you know, after not being, well, you know, they're probably creative other ways, but to be like recognized as a creator. It's pretty cool, you know, and that's Rhode Island to me in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's a great project. For those unfamiliar, the Same Thing project. Is it on hiatus, or are you meeting with the project?
It's on hiatus, but I do. I talked to some of my friends from the project via Zoom and stuff like that. I just check in with them and say how you doing and stuff. And I have a ton of songs that we've written over the past couple of years that, you know, I have to get down and start recording some basic tracks for, so we can get out our next album. So.
That's great. That's really a special project. It should be on 60 Minutes or something. Really, what you do with your people, and it's with your group. It's a fantastic project. Look it up. Samethingproject.com, I believe. .com. Yes. Great album too that you guys did last year.
Thank you.
Last thing, I know you have a gig sort of online tomorrow. Correct, Mark?
That's right. At the Schemers are playing the Narrows, and that's like. I look at that as my home away from home, because I have a songwriting project there with a group called People Incorporated, which we haven't been doing because of COVID. And Patrick Norton there, he's just a great friend, and he's come through for me so many times. And you know, the Schemers are going to do a virtual concert there starting at 8, and really looking forward to it, because it's nice I haven't played loud in a long time, and you know. It's going to be fun to feel my chest vibrate with some resonance or whatever.
We'll have to put some figures, some faces in the chairs, you know, like they do on sports.
I'm used to playing for nobody, so I can do that.
Good. No, it'll be webcast, live streamed. Go to narrowcenter.org for information on that. But I'm planning to. I've got the night blocked off for the show tomorrow night, so we'll be tuned in for sure. They have donations. It's free, but they accept donations, of course. And they do a series every Friday night, actually. They have several bands coming up over the next few weeks. So, Allison, what have you got on the docket over the next planned right now?
So, well, my album's getting pre-released tomorrow. And then in October is my last show on the books that I can actually do. Because, yeah, like Mark, there's a lot of cancellations due to COVID, but I'm going to be doing a house concert, kind of porch concert called Side by Each that JJ and Jen Long are doing. So, yeah, it'll be fun.
I love the name.
Yeah, Side by Each. So it'll be
Side
really
by Each, baby.
Totally Rhode Island.
Yeah, seriously, right? So there'll be a ton of musicians. I'm not sure who else is playing besides me, but I'm just sick that they wanted me to play.
That's great. Anything else you guys want to add?
I like your COVID hair. Is this length gonna stay? Yeah, please.
This is my COVID hair. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm working on it. It's a little tough. Mark too. Mark too.
Hey, you know what?
Ryan.
You know what? I'm here. When you started shaking your hair and your head, I had to jump.
You know, my props didn't get in. John Lennon's here with us too tonight, but there's Baby Yoda and John Lennon are going to be joining us tonight.
Okay.
They didn't fit. And the Bluesmobile. The Bluesmobile. There we go.
Where can I buy your music, buy your albums? How can I, find your album tomorrow, find your albums that you've both done in the past, things like that?
Bandcamp.
Bandcamp, iTunes, whatever Google Music is.
All that stuff. Any platform that you can think of, Mark and I have our music on it, guaranteed, for sure. But Bandcamp for my new record tomorrow.
Excellent.
Be lined up. Great.
Good luck, Allison. That's
Thank you.
fantastic. I have,
Thank you guys for being on the
I have
premiere
one of your-
episode of What's Up in Local Music. And we'll definitely see you guys soon, hopefully at a show, but one way or another.
Definitely.
Okay.
Thank
So,
you.
Ken,
Thanks,
come by
guys.
my house when I'm playing outside.
I will. I'm not far, so I'm going to have to. Live
Okay.
music.
Great to see you guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Ken, that is the inaugural,
Inaugural.
the first annual What's Up in Local Music.
Yeah, that was great. Really great people to talk to. And that's the concept behind the show. So if you joined us tonight, we really appreciate it. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. We're going to do this maybe once or twice a month. And artists, if you have any interest, contact me. We'd love to get you on. We'll do it weekly if we have people willing to come on.
Yeah, and what's nice is if you miss it live, you can go as soon as I hit this end broadcast button. It is available to watch. You can fast forward if Ken said something silly or if I showed up. You can go back, fast forward, watch it. We have found great success in these videos where people can watch them when they want to. They can see faces, they can connect with musicians, and they get to know the people behind their music. So I'm really looking forward to this series.
Same here.
All
Thanks
right.
for doing it, Ryan. Appreciate it.
All right, Ken. Well, thank you for putting this together. And it's already up on whatsupnoop.com where people can also head there and they can see the video right there. It is the top story right now. So, all right, Ken, we will, what's ahead for the weekend on What's Up Noop?
We're going to have, we've got movie reviews as we've been doing really heavily the last few months. By the way, Jimmy Carter, Rock and Roll President, great movie. Music fans, classic rock fans, really excellent. I reviewed it earlier this week. You can find it at janepickens.com. They have it in their virtual cinema. But we've got more reviews coming, and we've got 6 Picks music coming back tomorrow, live and streaming. So check that out tomorrow.
Nice. And I am working on What's Up in each county of Rhode Island. And I'll tell you, there are lots of music out there to be found. So I'll have that full list. I got through about half the counties in Rhode Island today before election results came in. So check it out and go out there and support some businesses. They certainly need your support this time of the year before they start buttoning up things. And Pete leaves us off with good show. We appreciate it, Pete.
Excellent, Pete. Well, we're going to have to talk to Pete. I know he's got a show coming up at the Narrows also. So maybe we'll get Pete on in a couple weeks. Pete and John.
Excellent. All right. Well, great job, Ken. I'm so used to talking to Frank. I almost called you Frank. But great job with this. And people can also email me. I'll pass it on to Ken, Ryan at whatsupnoop.com, musicians, artists. And let's help spread the word as we head towards late fall and winter here in Rhode Island. All right, Ken. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.